Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 130 of the Revive Yourself podcast. Here we go.
Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Have you got a health issue that just won't go away no matter what you try? Then welcome to the Revive Yourself podcast, where we reveal the secrets to long-lasting health by getting to the root cause of problems that no one else is talking about. So you can have more energy, clear skin, healthier hair, a leaner physique, more confidence, and most importantly, do the things you love and live the life you deserve. Here's your host, Ryan Martin.
Hey guys and girls, welcome back to the show, episode 130. On a roll, got some, got some good stuff coming. If you probably had seen or you follow me on Instagram or on my Facebook page or even the website, you'd probably have seen that my book, The Chronic Fatigue Solution, is coming out very soon. It should be ready to rock and roll this week or next week, and we're getting everything done. The covers has been done. I think it's quite a nice look to it, which is wicked. And to be fair, it's the chronic fatigue solution, but you know, if you're dealing with any sort of chronic illness, it's going to help. It's the 3 big secrets that I use to heal myself and others from chronic fatigue and chronic illness, and it goes deep into a lot of those things. In fact, what I've done with this book is there's a section that I've actually looked into. I'm gonna expand on things that detract from the health. These are the 3 big secrets, and then I've got different areas that I go into, and I've left it actually reasonably short, not to overwhelm people, because I just wanted just to get the basics, and then once that's covered, I will be having other books that will go into more detail into different things. Be looking at the skin, also be looking at how to keep yourself healthy in a toxic world, and something we'll be going into much deeper. So it goes into the 3 secrets, but I said before, I didn't want to overwhelm people. I wanted to make it very, very simple. Let's say simple, just the basics. You know, the key essentials. You know, as I said before, you probably heard me say on the podcast. You know, you look at the Olympic champions. They don't sit there and talk about, you know, how they learnt to do these extra special moves. They always talk about the basics, and this is the absolute key to getting your health back on track. So really looking forward. That'll be out very soon. Just added a brand new product to the Revive Yourself shop. You go www.reviveyourself.co.co and you go to the shop section. We've got our pearl powder on there, which has been used since almost time and millennia to help different health issues internally. It's phenomenal for the liver. It's great for the skin. You can put it on topically. It's great for any sort of acne, redness, blemishes for the skin. It was used by nobility. It's been used for thousands of years by the Tao and India in Ayurvedic medicine. And this is nano powder, grade A, top quality stuff. And as always, only use the top quality stuff. So anyone with skin conditions, this is a phenomenal thing to have both internally and externally. As always, we've got all our other supplements on there too, like the Living Fuel, Super Berry and Super Greens, which are just phenomenal products if you're looking to get, you know, sometimes it's hard to get in all your vegetables, your phytonutrients, antioxidants, and then also this has got Krebs cycle minerals in it. As I said before, 2 scoops of this is equivalent to $260 worth of organic produce. It's the best all-round product on the market, bar none. You know, and we're lucky to be able to get it out to your Living Fuel, Super Greens and Super Berries. You've also got the Ultimate on there, and they also do a Living Fuel protein, a vegan protein, which is fantastic. Also, the salted caramel maca plant-based protein is back in store. It's the most delicious protein I've ever tasted, and it's chock full of superfoods. So anyone looking to have a protein shake or just likes it's a superfood shake basically. They just added some phenomenal superfoods in there, and it tastes brilliant. As always, we've got our whole house water filtration systems from Aquaterra on the site. 1, 2, 3, 4 bedroom house, whatever you've got, 4 bedrooms plus, hard or soft water. We've got different options for you there, so you can make sure the water you're washing yourself in, cleaning your clothes in, cooking your food in, is all, brushing your teeth in, is all clean as can be. And we've got our EMF and 5G blocking devices on the site from Aries Tech. And if you head on over to www.blueblocks.com and you put in the code REVIVE, you're going to get 10% off the best blue blocking glasses in the world. BLUBLOX.com. And for Andy, who've had him on the show, Andy Mamps, the best blue blocking glasses on the market by none. They're made in Australia from an optician rather than China, which most of the other products are made cheap materials. Also, if you're heading over to www.essentialoilwizardry.com and you want to buy any of the products there, if you put in the code REVIVE, you're going to be able to get 10% off the best essential oils in the world there too. So that's that. On to today's show. Today's show. Today, this is an episode where I actually got interviewed by the guys from the Unit Fitness. They are based in Godmanchester, just near Cambridge in England. They're two guys I've known for a long period of time, Josh and Rob, Josh Phelps and Rob Foster, and they're just great people. They own a facility, I said before, a strength conditioning facility, and they help people get back into shape in a great way. They're very much into their health as well. And I first met them on a mastermind 4 years ago, and we've been friends ever since. And we actually shot 2 episodes for their podcast. One's about me just telling my story to set the scene for them and for their audience, and then the next one we go a bit deeper into things. And I think we're going to try and make it like a thing that we do quite often, but at least maybe 3-4 times a year. Get down there, have a chat with them, and we go into different things. I'm going to get them on our show too, or say on my show, so you guys can listen to them. They're really good when it comes into physique building. They're really good at that. They're both in incredible shape. It's a really good conversation we had there. So what I'm going to do, guys, because most of you guys may have known my story, a few of you may not, I'm going to put both of the episodes up together. So we've got episode 1 and 2 together, and we'll go in it from there. So without further ado, here's the interview, guys. Enjoy, and I'll see you on the other side.
Okay, guys, so we are back in the studio, and this week, I have no clue what number this podcast is, because we think we lost that.
Just from the thumbnail, it'll be 38.
Boom.
But actually, number 3 of the decent setup, the professional setup, as you can see
rude.
Here. The office, chatting, ad-lib in the office, wasn't really a podcast, I don't think. So now we've stepped up our game.
Talking Tough podcast.
Not that Matt wasn't a real guest last week.
He's a real guest.
Now we have a real live guest.
So
Blue Dog is as well.
Yeah, Blue Dog's the real guest. Yeah. But actually, more importantly, we're going to introduce the man, and like what we did with Matt last week and just kind of left him hanging. We've got Ryan in here today. This is where we want to chill. Yeah, we don't have to do that yet with the old things. We'll learn. So Ryan's here from Revive Yourself. Now, I don't really want to try and even go into discussing or explaining what Ryan does, or who he is, but I will say there's not many people you meet in the fitness industry that make a huge impact. And I can honestly say within the first 10 minutes, my head was absolutely blown. It's crazy. Your story's one of the most interesting stories that we've come across. And it's great because, we've met, and I'm going to get you to hopefully now go into, it's not easy to break these things down, a little bit about your story, what you do, and thank you very much for coming onto the podcast.
No worries, guys. It's a pleasure to be here, and it is a very nice setup. I'm very jealous myself. It's something to look into.
You're like the podcast pro as well.
You're very good with your podcast, haven't you? Over the years, you've got a lot.
Yeah, I've got 128 episodes now, so yeah, it's good, and get guests from all over. But I was just saying, this is wicked. Because as I said before, because I do generally interview a lot of people across the pond in like the US and everything. Ooh, can't touch that one. So yeah,
amateur.
I think that's with my hands. But this is a really good setup. But thanks for having me.
No, of course.
Pleasure.
So, I mean, really, listen. before I go on a ramble, like I will do, you get much more sense out of Rob, and you'll get, as you know that anyway from our past meetings. Can you just try and give a bit of an introduction into not only Revive Yourself, which is your business, but funnily enough, yourself, because as I said, when we first met and we got chatting and asked you about your business and about what you were doing, and that was nearly 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible to watch what you're doing, and what you are doing, I think, is so powerful and so important. But it's hard for other people, I guess, unless you're all over the front of social media or in their scope, to understand and respect how much information you've got, how much knowledge you've got, and what you can actually bring to the table. Because I wish, not being funny, that we could, and hopefully this does help, spread your words about what you do around, and why they're so meaningful.
Yeah, no, it's it's been growing. I mean, the thing is, like, people know when in this industry, in any industry, same as you guys, you don't. No one becomes an overnight success unless you can just throw loads of money at it, and your reputation builds. The more results you get, the more your reach builds, and and it has over the years got bigger and bigger, and and it's something that will hopefully continue to grow with the results we get. But I got into what I do. So basically, what I sort of class myself is like a holistic health coach, someone who uses natural health methods to help people get over their chronic illnesses. And I got into it actually because I scratched my own itch. I never wanted to be. This is not a career path I saw myself going down. I actually always wanted to play professional sport, and after that, maybe say in sport, maybe say it like on the coaching side of things. But at 17, well, quick backstory. I know we've actually had a podcast before. I think we did an episode before, and sort of went into it a bit. And I'll give you like the Cliff Notes version of it. Like at 17 years of age, my best friend died in a car crash. At the time, I was already having quite bad acne across my chest and my back and on my face. Quite bad, to the point where I was actually getting medication, going to see doctors, getting medication for this. Playing sport at a good level, representing Essex, Eastern Counties, South of England, rugby, doing all that. And then my best friend died, and it pushed my body into a chemical and emotional response. So generally, you get like a chemical. If an illness generally comes after someone has one of those responses, a chemical response can be to like medication, or it can be to recreational drugs. You can get physical response. So if you're in a car crash, for example, you could get broken bones, or you can get your spine out of alignment. And then an emotional response. Someone in your family dies of cancer, or something happens to you. It could be even like a relationship breakout. That can push someone into a really, really bad place. And so I had like the emotional and chemical response. I had a lot going on internally. And my best friend dying at 17 pushed my body into a place where everything started to just pile on, really. And this acne that I had, which was quite bad, got extremely severe, to the point of I had spots bleeding through my shirt and back. I even managed to go to university to carry on play rugby, and I had to wear 2 shirts because like spots were coming through. It was really, really painful. And then I started to develop something called keloid scarring. Now, I didn't even know what keloid scarring was before I got it. And it's generally more prevalent in African Americans, and it's where like scars, instead of just getting a scab and you get scab and not healing, the body starts to overheal, and you get like a little rubbery nodule, and I had these little rubbery nodules all over my chest and back and shoulders, and it wasn't a fun time. I was seeing the doctors, and they were like, well, this doesn't generally happen. I don't know what to do. So what I got taken to go see a specialist, like a dermatologist, who prescribed me Roaccutane. And if I knew then what I know now, I never would have took it. Roaccutane is a vitamin A derivative. It's one of the worst drugs on the market. It dries your body out so much. You can't even go out in the sun, which is one of the most healing entities in the world. It burns you, and it's got 100% chance of birth defect in women. They're not allowed to get pregnant when they're taking it. It's a real bad drug. It's
incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it did. Well, it's not for me. It did actually stop some of these spots coming up. But what happened at that time was, where I was so toxic, I started to develop cysts cyst on the back of my neck, earlobes, in my groin, and my bum in particular. And still managing somehow to play rugby through all this. I actually managed to get a contract to go and play in New Zealand, in Canterbury, which was awesome. And I was taking this Racketain at the time, and this was where the spots started. There's dried out the spots, but these cysts become more and more prominent. And when I was out in New Zealand, I got this cyst in my groin. It wouldn't go away, and I was like, I can barely even walk here, let alone play. Went to the doctor in New Zealand. Luckily, with Canterbury, they got seen straight away, and they biopsied this cyst. I had to squeeze it, and the pain, I've never had anything like it. Come back, oh no, we can't find anything, we better do it again. Come back again, nothing was found. I was like, okay, we'll put you on antibiotics. The antibiotics first lot cleared it up, and then it came back. More antibiotics didn't clear it up. This time I sort of finished my contract in New Zealand, come back home, got on a contract to play in Edinburgh. Went up to Edinburgh to play, and at that point it just got to a point where I couldn't really even walk, let alone play. It was excruciating. And yeah, I remember. When you're in a male environment like that, you don't tell anyone, and you can't say to the coach, "Oh, by the way, I've got a few spots." So no one understands the pain that it was. I used to have to wrap and put double bandages on these things, and then this one in my lower bum in particular, it's called a pilonidal sinus. It was to the point where I was actually in tears. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sit down. And I remember going to the dermatologist, and he's like, well, I don't know what else to do. We can put you on steroids. I was like, okay, you're the boss. Put me on steroids. It just made, I went from 83 kg to 97 kg, blown up. My skin was a mess. It wasn't spots, but I had red blemishes everywhere. I felt horrific, and the spots went away, but as soon as I come off the steroids, they came back. And then he was like, well, the only thing else we can do is cut these things out. So went to a surgeon who was like, right, yeah, we're going to perform this procedure, we're going to cut these out, they're not going to come back. I was like, brilliant, anything you can do to get rid of these. Because I remember once I was around my sister's house with this one with my lower bum, and I was literally just crying on the couch, waiting for it to go, and this needs to, I couldn't do anything. I was just and I remember sitting at a pub once, and it burst, and it was running all down my leg and stuff, and yeah, it's grim. I like to tell these stories because I want people to understand I've been there, but the relief was just phenomenal. And these things would go away for a little while, and then they come back go away for a few weeks, and they come back. So when I went to get this surgery the first time, when I had surgery put under, cut them all out, and I was like, oh, it's phenomenal. I had to go through the lovely time with my mum and dad actually unpacking and packing my wounds, these deep wounds. The smell was fantastic, but I was out of pain, and I was like, this is great, put on antibiotics again to try any infections to come. Everything was good until it wasn't, until they come back, and I was like, all right, my God. And
your body's just chemicaled up at this stage. You've literally gone through years of just pumping so much into your body, but as you say, it's what you think's right to get rid of or to prevent, you'd almost do anything, wouldn't you?
Well, you're the boss. That's kind of what you said to the dermatologist. What you thought, but actually, we're the boss of our own body. Really, we should be able to, as a lead on to how you solved your problems and stuff. You took that. You're like, well, it's me. I'm feeling these pains, and we've not had the deep story to that much.
No.
That's quite sounds horrific. We know a bit about your backstory, but not to that depth. And yeah, we'll let you carry on with that because it's pretty powerful.
I was just going to say, because you go to see a doctor for treatment, right? And if I said to you two, I'm going to treat you to dinner, what would you think? I'd be paying for it. And so people go to doctors and they want to pass off their problems to them, and they think, oh, it's okay, but we don't really. And this is going into it. So we are, as you say, we are all the boss of our own body. It's something you learn, but when one of the reasons, so my body was in a chemical emotional response, I was also eating all the things that I thought were good for athletes. I was Dan Carter and Richard McCall having these things. These people got 100 tests for New Zealand, and surely it's fine. Junk proteins. For my body, just couldn't deal with it. I didn't know this at the time. Other things I was eating wasn't good. Protein bars, other things full of fillers and binders and all the stuff that if you can get away with it, great, but some of us can't. And so when I actually went for that. When they actually started to come back, these cysts, the doctor was like, right, listen, we're going to do another surgery, 100% they won't come back, we're going for it again. And went in, put under again. He cut them out, and everything was good once again until it wasn't, until they come back. And not only this, at the time, where I'd had so many antibiotics and steroids, and at the time as well, he was my dermatologist, because of these keloid scarring. My other things he did was giving me steroid injections in my chest and back. So I was getting about 60 to 100 of them a week, and these things were so, I wouldn't rip my skin off. 60 to 100
injections a week,
and it was every Monday. Paying him £250-300 at the time for this as well.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Sweet. And my skin was, I just wanted to pull it off. And after my second surgery, what happened was, because my immune system was completely wiped out, you know, most people don't understand, like general anaesthetic wipes out your gut flora, and 80% of your immune system is where your gut lies, and so it wiped out my gut flora. I developed thrush of the mouth. Any woman that's had thrush downstairs will know how bad it is. Imagine that in your mouth. It was like if I was trying to eat anything, it was like having a knife stuck into my mouth. It was horrific. And then if I did manage to get anything down, my gut was in absolute pieces. It was like someone putting a knife across my gut, which was fantastic. And I remember being on my parents' couch, like just thinking, what have I done to deserve this? And then at the time, we were actually just moved into my parents' new house, and they were doing all these buildings, and they were there was a lot of building work going on. My dad was like, Ryan, can you help me with this? And I was like, Dad, I'm completely, like, I can't move. I remember my mum, like, coming down, you're a disgrace, you're 22 or 21 years old, you're not helping your dad. I was like, Mum, I can't move. She's like, we feel that bad, go and see another doctor to see what's wrong with you. So I went to the doctor, and he gave me other blood tests, and I come back with like one of the highest levels of glandular fever he'd ever seen, which then turned into Epstein-Barr virus. And I was just completely wiped out. You know, my mum was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I didn't realise it was that bad. And I was just like, Mum, I'm a complete...
In your face, Mum.
I was just like, well, I couldn't tell. I've never been like... I've always been someone like, you know, not blowing my own trumpet, but always like quite a popular guy with friends, playing sports, always been energetic, always having lots of social group. And I was at a point where I was just like completely broken. I remember being on the couch just thinking, this is what life's going to be like. I don't want to be here. You know, I didn't take my shirt off for 7 years. Even playing rugby, you know, I'd wait for everyone to go leave the change room before I turned, before I took my shirt off and went to shower, because I didn't want people to be like, what is this freak? Like, who wants to be around this freak? I didn't have sex with a girl because I was embarrassed. I didn't even take my shirt off on the beach. And, you know, I think you guys seeing me about 4 years ago was like the start of me getting my confidence back, having my shirt off out on the beach room, and people now can't believe they can't believe I had an issue. They can still see some scars and stuff, but compared to what it's like, not even night and day. It's not even apples and oranges. It's like apples and bowling balls, you know.
Well, that being daft, but you're a beautiful man, right?
No,
you're a beautiful guy.
It's funny.
People might be able to see this on the camera, but I mean, his skin is literally glowing. I mean, for somebody that is, his backstory is actually about bad, like obviously much worse than bad skin. Don't get me wrong, but the fact is, you were visually uncomfortable with yourself. Mate, you credit to yourself. I mean, the thing is, you know, we hear about all these like success stories and all these different things, and you see all these before and afters and all that. And I'm not downgrading what's gone on with you, but what I would say is that listening to what you've gone through, and I mean, without being rude, it sounds absolutely horrendous. And the fact that you've turned it around, and now, as you say, like, you should be super confident, and I hope you are now. Like, and you know, as you say. It's great because you discussed previously being that confident person with friends and all this, and then going through that stage is such a vital part of your life. You know, that time in our life where it's crazy anyway, hormonally, you know, as you say, going out, trying to make friends, meet new people, challenge yourself physically in sports and meeting girls or guys or whatever it is, and to go through that with so much going on. Not only, as you say, physically feeling drained and horrendous, but emotionally so uncomfortable and unconfident, to then come out and not be funny, go back to being somebody who now people aspire to be you. Like, that to me, they do. Like, I talk to people and I'm like, if you want to talk health, this is the guy to talk to. There's no messing around with other people. So, you know, it's just such a credit. But you're visibly there. Like, you know, this guy isn't a before and after picture. Like, I'm seeing the after right now. And it is where you want to be. Like, you know, it's something that so many people aspire to be. And I just think that the respect that people should hopefully give you just through knowing that where you've been and where you are now, it's massive. And hopefully people will listen. And and start to maybe look to maybe not just jump down that path of, as you say, you're the boss, you're telling me to do this, okay, I'll do it. But without educating and spending time, and looking to read into things in depth, it's hard to know, isn't it? Like for me, once again, if I get ill, where do I go? But you just see what I'm saying.
You go to where you know. At the moment, and that's, now you do.
Yeah, no,
but most people will go to the doctor, the pharmacy.
Yeah. But how many times have you, as we say, we've been
Instagram, Google. They'll go, something's wrong with
Google.
Google.
It's
terrible.
Well, the thing is, what he was saying before, at the end of the day, like when it comes to car crashes and A&E and putting bones back together, these guys are great. It's just when it comes to chronic illness, unfortunately, they don't know because they're not taught. They're just not taught. It's a pill for every ill, and that's it. But bone injuries, things like that, anything like that, they are phenomenal.
This is where it's going to be hard, right? This is where if you learn and listen and stuff, you can trust yourself now. But to most people listening to this now, hearing that that's almost not controversial. It'll get people's backs up a little bit. Hang about.
Scary as well because it takes away their safety net of.
Yeah.
I tell you. So just to give a bit more background to it, because I want people to understand how I learned and what I went. So I remember being on because when I do I have like in fact, I don't know. Probably you could do it for you. I mean, we're doing this now actually, so you guys probably know. But I do go to other gyms and do give my talk, like the 3 big secrets of health. I've actually got a book coming out, like the chronic fatigue solution. We go through it, but I like to tell my backstory because there's lots of people out there that are just talking heads. They learn something in a book and they've never been through it. When you've been through something and you've tried it all and it hasn't worked, you start looking for other answers and you'll try anything. And when you're at that point where I didn't want to be here. I remember going from someone who's a happy-go-lucky, loving life to being like, if this is what life's going to be like, I don't want to be here. Like, what's the point? I can't enjoy anything I want to do.
That's crazy.
I know that people get there and they don't understand. A lot of people don't understand. If you're not going through that, then you'll never understand that. People with chronic issues, they wake up every day and just getting out of bed. I remember when I was on my parents' couch in 2008, one of the only things I could do one of the things I can enjoy, because I couldn't play sport anymore, I could barely walk. I mean, even eating the same would be destroying me. I remember that one of the things I could do was watch sport, and David Hay was fighting Nikolai Valiev for the world heavyweight title, and Sky Sports have this thing like behind the ropes where it goes behind the scenes and shows you the fighting camps of the fighters. And David Hay's trainer at the time was a guy called Ruben Tabares, his conditioning coach, and this is how I this is how I got into what I do. Ruben was on the show and they come to the door and he was an intelligent guy. Not like just generally, I don't know, he was a guy talking about completely different things. He was talking about, David was having his organic juice in the morning, he was having probiotics, he was having fermented foods, He was talking about how he was getting David to assimilate his foods properly by making sure he was chewing it at the right amount of times, how certain times of the day that he wouldn't do certain things, and how his sleep was so important. And he was talking about things that I'd never really heard before. And I was like, whoa, I need to talk to this guy. And so I looked him up and I found what gym he was working at. I rung that gym. I was like, can you get this message to Ruben, please? I'd love to speak to him and understand what was going on. He was even talking about muscle testing David with certain things not working, and I was like, this is different level. And so I managed to get a message to the guy he used to work with called John Squirrel. It's at the Vault Gym in London. Within a couple of hours, Ruben had actually called me. I was on the phone to him. I'd booked an appointment to see him the next day, and I was like, right, brilliant. I went down there, and in 2.5 hours, he opened my eyes up to a world I never knew existed.
I've got a lot of time for that. This guy is, working with one of the top athletes, in the world at that time in their field, massive.
Heavyweight champion of the world at the time.
And he's, next day, it's important to him.
I think it was my story. He said, I remember taking the calls actually in the bath at the moment, I was in the bath, just sitting laying there going, I remember picking up the phone and being like, oh my God, I'm on the phone to Ruben Tabares. I was like, this is awesome. Went down. I was like, I think it was like £250 or £300 to see him for like whatever it was. And I was like, the best £300 I ever spent. I mean, over the next amount of years, that was the least of my as what I was spending. And yeah, I mean, he was just looking at me going like, Ryan, you're extremely toxic, your body's deficient, it's imbalanced, it's internally, like your whole immune system is completely low, your gut flora has been wiped out. He was telling me I've got candida, I've had this and that, the other. He wanted me to go down and see his biological doctor, someone I use now with my guys if I need to, a guy called Dr. Robert Jacobs, who studied in Germany, in China, and in the Paracelsus Clinic in Switzerland, which is a phenomenal facility. Like, they use biological medicine over there. They're leagues ahead of what we do over here. It's in the Swiss mountains. They're not even allowed to take electrical devices over there. Like, they want a complete detoxification. And I went down, I booked in to see him. He was down in Bournemouth. I went and saw him, and he uses like a tuning fork. He's a homeopath. He does Chinese medicine as well. He also is a biological medicine practitioner, which means he uses energy medicine, and everything is energy. It's one of the things I try and tell my clients these days. Like, stop thinking about good and bad foods and things. Think about, like, say if you've got like a greens drink or some organic vegetables, that's a good energy, rather than like, so you talk about your bank account. I try and say to them, if you're in the black, you do a few things that might put you in the red, might put you in the red, but might just take the money down a little bit. Save a beer, might drop you down a few points, but as long as you put that money back in, it's a different level. So anyway, I went to see him, and he starts testing people for how toxic they are. And at level 30, he starts basically looking for cancer. I was at 28 out of 30. That's how toxic I was. He found different residues of like vaccines in there. He found 3 different parasites, different viruses. I had massive mercury toxicity, like heavy metal poisoning. And he was like, right, put in his protocol. And Ruben gave me like a nutritional plan to follow, some other like exercise things to do in terms of how to boost my system. And I also had the remedies and energetic medicines from Dr. Jacobs. And within 6 to 8 weeks of following his program, I've never looked back. And I was like, right, I need to be around Ruben as much as possible. So for the next 2-3 years, he was my mentor. I was with him. And another guy called Pete Marcosiano, who's his mentor, who I actually interviewed a few weeks ago, called him Yoda. And I was like, right, I need to learn more. I need to know more about this. And then I just went around the world and just learned from as many people as I could, America, I went Thailand, India, all over in Europe. And, spent tens of thousands, but it's been worth it because I just wanted to know what it was to get what true health was and what needed. And the 3 things that always came back were, like gut health, like just absolutely vital. And then it was like detoxification, not having it. Everyone's got a certain toxic threshold, and this is something that the medical industry like to poo-poo and like to say, oh no, it's nonsense, so your liver will detoxify stuff. And yeah, maybe it would 1940 when we weren't under so much, just lambasted with toxins. We've got 100,000 industrial toxins in the air, let alone everything else that's going on. And people are just chronically stressed the whole time. Is their body even in a state where it can even detoxify, because they're constantly in fight and flight rather than rest and recover, worrying about the bills, being the prettiest, look at the Instagram, holidays, this, that, the other. And the other one was like epigenetics, which kept coming up, which has been around for 17 years, but most people don't even know about epigenetics, which tells us, it doesn't matter what genes you got. If you live a certain way, you'll never express those genes, and a few other things that kept coming up. And that was basically where it led to, and sorted myself out, started learning from Ruben, and then for the last basically almost 10 years now, I've just been helping people through different chronic issues. And
that's the biggest thing to come from, isn't it? The amount of people you've been able to help from going through that yourself to now teaching and educating and guiding people with their own health issues. It's massive, really.
I think what we're going to do, I think that right there, that's a great introduction to Ryan. And we're going to wrap, actually, I think, at that, because without saying daft, it just now opens us up into so many different avenues. And we're definitely going to hit those. I think what we'll do is we're going to sit down, we'll go through another podcast. I mean, every single time I hear a little bit more about your story and about where you've come from and what you've done, just makes me want to sit and listen and go again. And luckily, I know we're going to get you to go through again and actually talk about some of the things that possibly are on the tip of people's tongues now, questions they've got about how did you get the courage to actually go, right, do you know what, I'm going to go and talk to these people, or I'm going to put my trust in it, I'm going to learn, what things did you implement, and, what is your biggest takeaways, your learning lessons, what do you do on a daily basis? I know it's crazy because people say it to us, like, what do you have for breakfast, as if it's going to make a difference to the whole of their weight loss. No, it's not going to make you come along and deadlift crazy weight because you've had porridge for breakfast or a fruit smoothie or whatever else. These things are, and we've discussed this before, are just little snippets. So what we're going to do is we're going to I hope
get the links for this
so much from that.
To
at the end of this, I think, definitely
stick the links in for people to learn more.
For sure,
and follow on from that.
I mean, listen, even before you listen to the next podcast we're going to do with Ryan, check it out. I mean, where exactly, like, rather than me butchering your websites and stuff like that, where exactly do they find more info for you?
Website is www.reviveyourself.co. Also, if you go on to iTunes, you can type in "Revive Yourself" with Ryan Martin. That's my podcast.
Amazing, yeah.
And on Instagram, we just revive_yourself. But that'd be great.
Some of the podcast episodes alone, I think, with the guests you've had on your show, will be eye-opening for a lot of people.
Sure. So, listen, Ryan, thank you so much for sharing your story. That's a great intro. We're going to definitely check out the next episode with Ryan, because I think we're going to get some amazing things, insights into how to, your approach is, what's going on. I mean, I just want to wrap this up so we can get into another one and find out more. So thank you so much, Ryan, for coming on. Please check out, the website, the podcasts for sure, and make sure you tune into the next one, because it's incredible stuff. It's powerful, and I mean, not only does this look good now, it actually sounds pretty good. Much better than our waffle. Yeah, much better. It's actual real things. Right. Okay. So, guys, thank you very much for listening up to podcast number 38, apparently, and check in soon and listen up to our next one with Revive and Ryan. Thank you very much. Cheers, Ryan. Peace.
So, guys, yes, that was the first episode. Hope you got something from it. Even if you've heard my story before, maybe it just refreshed your memory. And I always like to tell people I'm not a talking head. I have been there. I have been through it. So, if you are dealing with a chronic health issue and you want to get to the root of it and get out of the pain and frustration, then do send me an email at ryan@reviveyourself.co, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, here's the second episode. Enjoy, and I'll see you on the other side.
Boom, boom, boom. I know that theme tune's already been used. But anyway, welcome. Let's,
Oh, yeah, no, you can't do it.
Copyrights and all that sort of stuff. Awkward. So, I'll come up with a new one, though. Don't worry. I was thinking something like... I thought that's a little bit sexy. Anyway, to be fair, talking to sexy, we're back on Talking Tough, and the sexy man Ryan is back. So this is our second episode. And if you haven't listened to episode number 38, which is obviously it's 39 now, then you definitely need to go and listen to that.
What an epic intro by
unbelievable.
Ryan.
I've never been so quiet for so long. Yeah, to be honest with you, it was the happiest I've been quiet.
You had nothing to really say. It's just listen. It was good.
It's good that I was listening, not talking. Yeah. Rude.
Silence.
Also, we didn't even get to introduce the guy on the table, Big Blue.
No, he got a bit of a mention, but yeah.
A little bit of a shout, but this guy's... He's
obviously listening.
He's on. He knows this. He knows the score. So we're not going to waste any more of Ryan's time by chatting complete rubbish. But I'm going to quickly overview. In the last episode, I say just listen to it.
Just check back and
don't even
watch.
It's just incredible. What an incredible story. And if you don't know, and haven't even checked out Ryan's, his website, his podcast, just go and do it. Sack off our podcast, believe me. Go and listen to his podcast and get some. I mean, it's incredible stuff, and your story is incredible. And just check it out before we go into it. But what we're going to touch on today, hopefully, keep it a bit more, chill, but also look at some of the things you're doing. I mean, the last podcast we touched on, Ryan, is listen to your story, why you're doing what you do, how you got to that place, and really just sort of going, right, that's kind of it's an incredible story. It's such an individual story. How does it relate with, us regular, people? And I know you often say that there's lots of things that, you can kind of do if you're not ill or chronically ill or fatigued or all these different things, and you can kind of get away with, and that always gets me. It always gets me, but then it always gets me thinking personally. I don't know about you, but I'm like, yeah, but why am I waiting till I'm broken to fix?
What if I did actually
Do you know what I mean? Why don't I just step my game up?
Yeah, exactly.
You can do it. This guy's doing it, right? Ryan's doing it. And we know how amazing what it's done for him. So what could I be like if I actually step my game up? I obviously, like most people, don't put everything into action, take little bits from it. And I know from our experience, if you're only taking little bits, you can never be the best of the best. You know, it's like going, right, well, I'm going to train once a week really hard. Like, okay, well, maybe we need to train multiple times, get some consistency in there with what you're doing, you know, start to implement it. So let's start off anyway, right, and get you to actually talk now. Your story's incredible. People are going to listen to that before they listen to this.